to another edition of 15 Minutes of Flame. I'm Robert Phoenix, and for the next 15 minutes or thereabout, it is Flame On, and Flame On it is for the United States of America and the rest of the world as we hurtle towards the seeming conclusion, the grand finale of one of the most bizarre, explosive, ugly, turgid, passionate, switched on, tuned out election processes I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've been here for 56 years. The first election that I really took notice of was back in 1968, boys and girls. The election in 1968. I was a mere 8 years old and witnessed the fire, the revolution, the radical flames being fanned on television, while the Democrats try to table up Hubert H. Humphrey and the the Republicans, Richard Milhouse Nixon. That was the first go-round that I remember. But here we are. It is 2016, and it is a very different landscape in many regards. The Vox Populi, the radical sector of society, is not the left anymore. The radical sector is actually the alternative right. You see, we're living in the upside down now, and I've talked about this for the last couple of years. The status quo has become the progressive liberal left, and it is failing us. And the right, as it's been, again, served up by the likes of Mitt Romney and all the other fake, phony-ass Republicans, they've failed us as well. People are desperate for change. We're dying. We are crying for change. And Michael Moore knows this. I want to read Michael Moore's quote. This is actually kind of came out on WorldNet Daily. He had a press conference. And I'm going to read this in its entirety in case you haven't heard it. It's a stunning prediction. America will deliver the biggest FU ever recorded in human history and put GOP nominee Donald Trump in the White House. That's according to leftist activist and filmmaker Michael Moore, who made the statements in a fiery video clip from his latest documentary, Trumpland. Moore reveals exactly what many hurting Americans, both Democrat and Republican, why they find the billionaire appealing. This is what Moore said. Donald Trump came to the Detroit Economic Club and stood there in front of the Ford Motor executives and said, if you close these factories as you're planning to do in Detroit and build them in Mexico, I'm going to put a 35% tariff on those cars when you send them back, and nobody's going to buy them. It was amazing to see. No politician, Republican or Democrat, had ever said anything like that to these executives. And it was music to the ears of people in Michigan and Ohio and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, the Brexit states. More begins. Whether Trump means it or not is kind of irrelevant because he's saying the things to people who are hurting. And it's why every beaten down, nameless, forgotten, working stiff used to be part of what was called the middle class loves Trump. He is the human Molotov cocktail that they've been waiting for. The human hand grenade that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them. And on November 8th, Election Day, although they've lost their jobs, although they've been foreclosed on by the bank, next came the divorce, and now the wife and kids are gone, the car has been repoed, they haven't had a real vacation in years, they're stuck with a shitty Obamacare bronze plan where you can't even get a fucking Percocet. They've essentially lost everything they had, except one thing. The one thing that doesn't cost them a cent and is guaranteed to them by the American Constitution, the right to vote. They may be penniless, they might be homeless, they might be fucked over and fucked up. It doesn't matter because it's equalized on that day. A millionaire has the same number of votes as a person without a job. We're going to address this. One, and there's more of a former middle class than there are in the millionaire class. So on November 8th, the dispossessed will walk into the voting booth, be handed a ballot, close the curtain, and take that lever or felt pen or touch screen and put a big fucking X in the box by the name of the man who has threatened to upend and overturn the very system that has ruined their lives, Donald J. Trump. They see that the elites who ruin their lives hate Trump. Corporate America hates Trump. Wall Street hates Trump. The career politicians hate Trump. The media hate Trump after they loved him and created him and now hate him. Thank you, media. The enemy of my enemy is who I'm voting for on November 8th. Now, that sounds like an endorsement to me, if you're asking me. And Michael Moore has nailed this thing. He has nailed this thing to the cross of democracy. This is what he's done. But the one thing that I think we have to be careful of here is this one passage where he talks about how a millionaire has the same votes as somebody who doesn't have, who has the same amount of, or not the same amount of money, but the same opportunity, lesser the station in the assets in the bank accounts. Now, to that extent, he is essentially saying that the electoral process is fair. In a perfect world, in a perfect democracy, absolutely. But we are not living in that. And there are a number of early voting anomalies that are coming out. On Michael Snyder's blog, the economiccollapseblog.com, he's posted more than a few examples here. I'm just going to read a couple. This is in Wichita County, Texas. Made it to the local newspaper there. Shortly after early voting booths opened Monday in Wichita County, rumors swirled online about possible errors in the process. Several online posts claimed a friend or a family member had attempted to vote straight party Republican ticket, but their presidential nomination was switched to the Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton. None of the local reports were from people who experienced the situation firsthand. A Bowie woman posted that a relative who lives in Arlington saw her votes switched. The post was shared more than 100,000 times on Monday. Now, this could be a strategy. This could be a strategy. This could be a preemptive strike for people to talk about the process early on so that there are more eyeballs affixed to the actual process when it occurs on November 8th. And I don't have a problem with that. Watching elections get thrown for the last 3 election cycles has made me sick, has turned me into a disaffected and cynical American. And so I don't have a problem with crying wolf early on in a process that everyone knows has been rigged. It was rigged for Bush. It was rigged, wasn't rigged for Obama. It was rigged for Bush in both elections. I guarantee you John Kerry whooped his ass in the second election. Ohio was that state. It's always Ohio. Ohio is the state. Ohio is the pivot state, the flip state. Obama, they didn't have to rig that election because they knew. They knew that after rigging 2 elections that it was hot, and they brought Obama in, and McCain he's a zombie, he's a corpse. He's a maverick. Yeah, John McCain's a maverick. Put him next to Donald Trump, and he looks like the Old Maid card. You know, they play the game Old Maid. That's who Maverick McCain looks like next to Trump. Let's put it into context. Romney, I'm pretty convinced Romney beat Obama. Pretty convinced. Again, voter fraud. Romney, what does he do? He just walks away. He doesn't give a shit. He's going to make his money. He doesn't care. He's going to build his brand. That guy didn't want to become president. Trust me. Trust me. That was not in his game plan. And I am not a Romney fan. I think the guy, you can't trust his ears. Just look at his ears. So here we are. We're getting into this voter fraud piece. Here's another one. This is a Facebook post from Lisa Hewlett, Amarillo, Texas. Gary and I went to vote today. I voted the straight Republican ticket. And as I scrolled to submit my ballot, I noticed that the Republican straight ticket was highlighted. However, the Clinton-Kane box was also highlighted. I tried to go back and change. It could not get it to work. I asked for help from one of the workers, and she couldn't get it to go back either. It took a second election person to get the machine to where I could correct the vote to a straight ticket. Be careful and double check your selections before you cast your vote. Don't hesitate to ask for help. I had to have help to get mine changed. I just put a post up on Facebook, and I don't think anybody's responded to this. Oh, I got one like. Who's that from? Somebody's not even a major Facebook friend. So in Georgia, there is they spotted a Forward Together bus. And this thing is in a complete wrap. You cannot see inside the bus. And it's for, obviously, Hillary and Kane. And they pulled up in Georgia, and they're busing people into Georgia. Now, this may be legitimate. It could be legitimate. It could be people that they've just decided to come, hey, come on, get on the bus, let's go vote. But based on some of the conversations that we've seen with Veritas, we don't know. But what's really amazing and ironic about this picture is that the bus is parked up on a curb, and they are dumping sewage in the curb. Sewage in the curb from the bus. I mean, it is a bad look and a worse metaphor. So here we are in just at the precipice of the election. And people are rolling up their sleeves, they're posting, they're blogging, they're YouTubing. This is the year, this is the time when we took the power of the media back, where we pushed back on the mainstream media and we pinned their ears to the wall. This is Uranus and Aries, third decan, Sagittarius, getting to the truth. Now, there's a chance that Hillary Clinton will win. This process, I guarantee you, will not abate. And we are in for an intense and powerful struggle should Hillary Clinton somehow claim the presidency, if she's given the slot that she's been theoretically awarded to. You know, Henry Makow is an interesting kind of bellwether. He has stayed away from this election. But if you go to his site, with a caveat, Henry is throwing down with Donald Trump. With a caveat. He has the same slight misgiving that I do, that Trump could actually be the next version of the New World Order, and we're all just waiting for it, we're all clamoring for it, but we don't know it yet. And we're not going to take the heaping spoonful of shit that Hillary Clinton and this version of the New World Order is serving up. So here comes Trump. You know what? I'll take the chance. I'll take the risk because we know what we're going to get with Hillary. At the very least, Sun, Uranus conjunction Trudeau in Gemini, Trump is a mutation. He's a wild card. That's your 15 minutes of flame. I'll be back tomorrow with the Friday Forecast. Go out, vote, make your vote count, and clearly be conscious of the process from start to finish. That's all we can ask for. I'm Robert Phoenix. This has been your 15 minutes of flame.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can seem intense. Like breakup R&B intense.
I thought you said you loved the sweater that I got you. If you didn't, you could have told me.
Geico makes it easy. Just go to Geico.com anytime to update or check your policy without all the extra drama.
I even had a gift receipt.
It can happen to anyone. You're about to hit channel 81 to watch Animals Gone Loco, but you accidentally hit 811 instead. And just like that, you're watching the Turnip Growing Marathon on the Farmers Network. And you're thinking, am I paying for this channel? Oh yes, you are. Thankfully, with Amazon Channels, you pay only for channels you want to watch, including premium ones like Showtime and Stars. No cable required. So goodbye, Farmers Network, and hello, Amazon Channels.